I've been keeping notes on my boyfriend's coffee order for almost a year, and he has no idea. My boyfriend orders differently at every cafe we go to. Not like dramatically differently, but enough that I started noticing a pattern. At the place near our flat it's always an oat flat white, 1 sugar. At the one by his office he gets an Americano and asks for cold oat milk on the side, because he says they overheat it otherwise. There's a place we go to on weekends where he just gets a black filter coffee because he doesn't trust their milk, his words. I started writing it down after I surprised him with the wrong drink once, and he tried really hard not to look disappointed and failed. Just little notes on my phone after we'd been somewhere. Nothing organized, just enough that I wouldn't forget. At some point I started getting there early sometimes and having his drink waiting. He got weirdly emotional about it the first few times, kept saying things like, "How do you always just know?" I didn't correct him. He told his sister last month that I have an incredible memory for small details, and that it makes him feel really seen. She asked me about it later, and I said I just pay attention to him, which is technically true. I have a notes folder with 11 entries in it. The oldest one is from last October. I don't think I'll ever tell him. I ruined a wedding when I was but 8. So, as said in the title, I was 8 and that was 1995. Me and my father were invited to the wedding of a distant relative, and it was rather grandiose, set in an ancient Renaissance-style manor and sprawling garden. It was the stereotype of good society all around. Vows were exchanged, the happy marriage sealed, the kiss the bride moment, the works. Then came the party. Violin solos, champagne and truth or dares. The bride went with truth, and adorably, said she loved all animals. I remembered that, and when very late at night, I went to wander through the gardens, I saw a mouse scuttering about in a dried-up fountain. I thought, hey, that should make a nice gift for the bride. Catching it wasn't easy, since I only had my hands, but after half an hour, I managed it. I cradled the mouse in my hands, gently, but when I came to the bride to present it, it had died of panic. And not in a peaceful manner. It had vomited its blood through every orifice. I genuinely had no idea. It made no difference. The bride's shriek interrupted the festivities instantly. Me and Dad were expelled on the spot. The next day, I was formally declared persona non grata by that branch of the family. Sometimes, we humans do forget that for 99% of species on Earth, we are megafauna. I broke up with my boyfriend because he yelled at me. I'm a 29-year-old woman. He and I dated for about 8 months. Our relationship was fine. We did things together, we had fun. There weren't any obvious red flags, but I always got this feeling that he didn't value me much. At times he seemed a bit cold, and acted like he was annoyed with me for no apparent reason. It all came to a head when 3 days ago when we were hanging out at my place, he asked me to hand him the TV remote. I was sitting right next to him on the couch, and was working on my laptop. I reached for the remote without looking and accidentally handed him my phone instead. Though it was funny after I realized what I had done. I laughed as I handed him the actual remote. He had that same annoyed look on his face. He began yelling at me and called me a stupid bitch. I was stunned. I have never raised my voice at him, or disrespected him in any way. I did not deserve to be treated this way. I told him our relationship was over, and asked him to leave. He told me to calm down, and stop overreacting. I simply walked to the front door, opened it wide and told him to get out, and never come back. He walked out telling me I was being dramatic. The very next day I returned the presents he had given me. They meant nothing to me now. My friends are telling me that I did overreact and I shouldn't just end a relationship because he yelled at me once, and have asked me to patch things up. His friends too began harassing me on social media. I blocked them all, his friends, not mine. I'm not going to reach out to him to try to work things out, as some people have suggested, because I know that I do not deserve this treatment. I've always treated him with respect and I deserve that in return. I just needed to tell somebody. Thank you for reading. The smell. I think our landlord disposed a dead body. This happened few years back, and it just came back to me after putting all the dots together. This happened few years back, way back. I was leaving for school that morning, and I smelled something rotting, like meat type. It smelled so bad I could even taste it. It got worse each day. My brother had noticed it, my dad, even the neighbors. Every day for a month. Every time I go near it the smell gets worse. The smell that it was coming from. That unit was always empty. I guess our landlord would rent it out to people who only stays there temporarily, but this couple, I see them few times, especially the girl. And the last time I see someone coming out of that unit was the girl. And I never saw them again. I didn't even see furnitures come out of that unit. We asked the maintenance worker to knock to see if there's anyone, but no one really answers. We would knock on a random time, or we would time it to the evening since maybe they're home, but no answers. This happened for a month. And then we were told it was just a rotting meat. The next day someone had moved in. They said the couple had left to somewhere. And then I had a few talks with the landlord, and he's definitely the type who can do stuff like that. It's still a mystery to me.
What I did with a gay guy. I live with my parents. My Mormon parents. I'm a grown-ass man, but I can't refuse the offer to stay with them to save money while I go to school. When I first moved in, it was hard to make friends in a new town. I met a guy via social media who was trying to put together a game of D&D and needed more people. We ended up deciding to hang out outside of D&D. My very nosy mother always asked where I was going and with who, and eventually found out this guy was gay. One of these days we decided to go out thrifting. Imagine my mother's surprise when she woke up for her early job to a text from me. "Hey, just so you know, we got a little goofy in the passenger seat." I woke up to her flinging the door to my room open with her phone in her hand. What does this mean? I pulled myself out of bed and said she better see for herself. We walked out to her car in the driveway to reveal a small plushie of Goofy in the passenger seat. Safe to say it's definitely one of the funniest pranks I've ever pulled. Me and that guy did fight though. I have been a ghost employee for 6 months and I am not stopping. I quit my last job over 6 months ago, but I am still on the payroll and I haven't said a single word about it. This company was an absolute nightmare to work for, and they basically destroyed my mental health for 3 years. I was hired as a junior analyst but ended up doing the work of 2 senior managers who quit and were never replaced. I was pulling 60-hour weeks with 0 overtime pay, and my boss literally laughed in my face when I asked for a small raise. When I finally handed in my notice, I expected them to cut me off immediately, but the HR department is such a total disaster that they just forgot. Every 2 weeks like clockwork a direct deposit hits my bank account. At first I was terrified and thought about calling them to fix the mistake, but then I remembered how they cheated me out of my annual bonus last year. I decided to treat this as my own unofficial severance package that I actually earned. They owe me for the unpaid nights and the weekends I spent fixing their broken databases while my manager was out on a golf course. I haven't spent a single cent of the money yet, and it is all sitting in a high-yield savings account just in case they ever figure it out. It has been 24 weeks now and nobody has noticed a thing. I still have access to my old work portal too, but I never log in because I don't want to trigger any security alerts. I feel a tiny bit guilty sometimes, but then I remember the panic attacks I used to have before every Monday morning and the guilt just kind of vanishes. It feels like a small win against a system that tried to grind me down for years. I know it is technically wrong, but after everything they put me through, it feels more like a debt finally being paid back. Behind the confidence is someone who's falling apart. I've been carrying this secret for years, and it's eating me alive. I pretend to be someone I'm not, and I'm so tired of it. To everyone around me, I'm the confident, successful friend who always has it together. But deep down, I'm struggling with anxiety and self-doubt. I put on a brave face every day, but inside, I feel like I'm drowning. I've lied about my accomplishments, exaggerated my experiences, and even faked my happiness. I've built this facade so high that I'm terrified of what will happen if I let it crumble. I know I should be honest with my friends and family, but I fear their disappointment and judgment. I just want to be real, to show my true self, but the thought of vulnerability terrifies me. I'm confessing this here because I need to let it out, even if it's just to strangers. I hope that by sharing this, I can start to find the courage to be authentic. I returned a lost wallet that had some money in it, and the guy was unbelievably rude to me, so I don't think I'll ever do something like that again. I found a wallet during my lunch break and went out of my way to deliver it at this person's address after work because it had quite a bit of money in it. I get there and knock on this person's door, and when he opened, I greet him and explain to him that I found his wallet at X place. He snatches the wallet out of my hand before I can even finish the sentence and tells me, "All of my fucking money better be there." Looked through it quickly before slamming the door in my face. I just left feeling dejected and frankly, a little hurt. I don't understand what compelled him to be so rude to me when I was merely trying to help him out. I have lost a wallet with money before and I never got it back. If I had gotten it back, I would have been very grateful to the person who went out of their way to return it to me, especially with the money still in there, because they had no obligation to do that, so I don't understand why this guy was so hostile towards me.